title. Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. And this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 755. We've got a great returning guest with us tonight, Hope Farms, Hope and Al. How you guys doing? It's a pleasure to have you guys back.
Doing great.
How you doing?
Doing well, my friend. Yeah, it has been that long since you guys been here. Actually, this is episode 755, and you guys visited on 118 and 183. So it has been a minute.
It's been lots happened in between then and now. Goodness.
Before we get any further, let's tell everybody how you guys are doing and where they can find you, please.
You can find us at Hope on Instagram, and you can find us on hopefarms.com and hopefarms@gmail.com. You can find us there and here.
And you know what? They are finding you because, it's one of them things that when you talk to people, especially about medicine, your name seems to pop up quite a bit with people and patients I've talked to across the country. I've heard the Hope Farms many times, and I'm like, I know them. I've had them on the show.
Very humbling. That's very humbling. Very humbling. That's nice. It's nice to know we're working hard to get everybody healthy out there.
You guys absolutely are awesome.
We didn't send you a death stick so that you could be smoking a death stick on the air with us. We forgot to do that in time. So Al prepared one for us to like subliminally smoke one with you.
Yeah, see, so I don't know if you can see that thing, but you see how black it is? Or dark it is, I should say.
No? Oh yeah. Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, so
we're gonna smoke it in your honor.
So I took a syringe that I keep in my nightstand, and I paste the paper with it, and I got some Louis OG here, and I twisted this thing up. So while we have our little chat, we're gonna smoke this thing. Death stick.
I feel like you guys are lighting a fuse here. Like my time is already limited.
No. Usually, there's the deal with the death stick. Most people, it takes them about 3 or 4 days to smoke this thing, because it'll put you down.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. So
what do you got? Anyways, what are you doing over there? What's your calling tonight?
This is some Crippy, grown by my good friend Smiley's Gardens. I believe you guys have talked or referenced with Smiley once or twice, but this is his Crippy. Definitely some good smoke. I had the pleasure of seeing him. He's a solid dude. He's a friend of mine. Actually, dropped and picked me up from the airport, and he picked me up with doobies, knowing that I was going to be ready to smoke when I got off that plane. And handed me a fat sack of his Crippy. So cheers to Mr. Smiley.
Yeah.
Now that's a friend. Yeah. You talked about him last time. You've been friends a long time, obviously.
Yeah. So what's new with you guys? What have you guys been growing? What have you guys been up to? I mean, you guys have had a lot going on.
We have. We just recently moved from our desert location in the low desert in Southern California to Nevada, small little town outside of Vegas. And we just moved. We've been here 8 days. The farm is up, and the lab is halfway together, and we're running hard. Nothing has stopped in California. We're just adding some beautiful things.
Right on. So everything moved.
We're working hard with some new people and some new companies. Since we talked last, Hope Farms is working with a group in LA to help and get the name out and get the word out, and working with the gentleman, Goldie Loke. He's a really famous rapper. You can look him up also on Instagram. We're not partners, but we're working on doing that, and we're helping each other. That's going to be a fun venture. We're looking forward to getting the word out to get the word out that cannabis can help so much more than people realize.
You know, we need a reminder, Hope.
We do.
Not just myself, but people in general need a reminder. I've been to a few events lately, and while there's some good conversation going on, speeches and whatnot about the power of the plant, I was super disheartening to see people walk by amazing stories, powerful stories of the healing power of the plant, and just to get to the flower, I walk right by and not listen to the message. It bothered me. You know what I mean? That's the strong part about what we do. And it just hurts to see recreational just walk by like they don't even give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. And it kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, it was just, we all could get it anyway if we needed to get it. I don't know, maybe it was just as hard. I don't know, but it seemed like when we were in the medical arena, we had better flower, more people that cared. It wasn't so washed out by so many, wild strains and growing, and that's all great. It's just that it's changed so much just in such a short amount of time. And the extracts are really super popular now, and there's really good things going on out in the cannabis arena now for medical options, especially even in the dab arena and even in the vape arena, because people are coming out with solventless, just hash that's pressed and put in a pen. And it's very, like for my clients, I can now have an option that's clean, and it's really cool that we're working with people that are, doing those really high end cannabis products and extractions that are good enough for me to be able to give to a cancer client. It's pretty awesome. So there's a lot that's changed actually since we talked last, because we're doing so much more than just oil and the rub or the balm now. We've expanded into RSO gummies, hard candy for patients that are having a hard time dealing with the actual syringe itself. It's an easier way for them to get the dose of medication in. It tastes better. It's easier for older folks. They like the taste of it. And for certainly people that haven't used cannabis before, it's a more delightful way for them to be introduced to cannabis. So we're finding all kinds of cool ways to infuse our products with the RSO, the medication, exactly. So when you eat a gummy, it's not, a THC distillate gummy. It's an RSO gummy made from hope oil, which is really different. And the education in there is where I am really trying to get to, is that the RSO medication is so much different than the high THC distillates. Now, those are great for all kinds of things as long as they're clean. However, the RSO medicates so differently. We like that, so we try to push that. So we're different. We're trying to be different because we believe that our edibles are, not only because we do the CBD edibles too, the 1-to-1s, and I'm not just talking about edibles, but these gummies literally are the very yummiest gummies I've ever had. So, and I wasn't a gummy fan until these gummies. So I'll have to get you some so you could try them. They're very good.
So has there been a different way you change in ways you prepare your medicine nowadays? I mean, have you guys learned some things since the last time we talked about either new molecules or different ways to prepare?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we learn every day, of course. We always are learning.
One of the biggest things we did was we bought a medical grade freezer. So now we freeze everything, both the food grade ethanol and all of the flour at 60 degrees below.
Yeah.
So what happens is when we wash, it literally just hits the resin and literally just washes it right off. Well, that's one of the best things we've done since we've seen you right there. It's just awesome.
Yeah, so everything's winterized now, very clean. The oil's beautiful.
You get a real good, clean initial wash because everything is just, I mean, you're 60 below zero. So it's just, if you could imagine how cold that is, it's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we always are learning. We learn things every day. I learn things every day when we test flour. I learn things every day by other RSO, folks like myself that are out there trying to help other people. I'm not in any kind of competition. So I try to learn from each other. There's plenty of sick people out there for a lot of us to be doing what we're doing. And I'm here to teach. I'm here to learn. I'll help anybody to learn to, to support anybody.
And we also now have access with our partners in LA, and it's a full legal lab to go in there when we're making huge runs. They got a giant rotovap in there, and so we, that's basically ours to use whenever we want as well. So that's been very interesting as well to make giant batches.
However, though, the tincture that goes into that rotovap is still made by hand. We wash it by hand. I want to that's like our RSO is handmade, and people might think just because we're getting a little bigger that we must be using big equipment now. No, we just work our asses off every freaking day, and I'm not kidding. It takes a lot of work. If anybody's ever made a batch of RSO, it's a lot of work to make it by hand every single day. And we work really hard at it. We don't have big, gigantic equipment. We do wash everything by hand. We filter everything by hand. We do that on purpose because we believe that quality control is where we can make a mistake or not make a mistake. And that gives us the ability to keep control of that. And the machinery is just secondary. That's just really to pull the ethanol out of the medication. And as long as we feel we extract way more than most people do. So when you get our medication, it's like really hard where someone would say, "Hope, I can't get it out of the syringe." And I say, well, yeah, that's good. You have to warm it. That means, there's not the legal 10% ethanol that you're allowed to leave in there. It's just not there. You're not going to find it. My RSO is hard as a rock usually. So everything's made by hand still. That's why it's different. That's why our medication is different, because we're not running it through big extraction machines that are washing a bunch of flour really hard and harsh. We don't do that. And we gently wash the flour off like you would a tea bag. And we go through a major filtration process, and the flour never hits the ethanol without a filter around it. So it's a very clean wash. There's no crushing ever. It's very soft and gentle. And, some people will say, well, wow, you're wasting, a lot of what's in your leftover biomass. But we try real hard to get a clean wash. So, well, I have a really great idea for what we should do with leftover, like flour that's been soaked in ethanol. I really do have a great idea. And I always thought someone should do it because it's think about this. Okay, I'm going to throw it out there for all you inventors out there. Somebody invent something to do with wet ethanol covered biomass, like weed, that's left over from an extraction machine, because it could be pressed like what do you call those logs, babe?
Oh, you mean
like a charcoal
yeah, like
piece of charcoal log. Like someone could, because that would be a great fire starter.
Well, that's what your brother does.
Think about it. If you could press that stuff, find a way to press that stuff. It's coated with ethanol. I don't know how, but they must do that in like charcoal briquettes or something, right?
Yeah.
That'd be a really cool idea, because then you'd have like natural.
That's a good idea.
Natural charcoal.
You know what we do is
that's a good idea for any inventors out there.
Stick some in the rosin press with no heat, just smash it and let it sit for a while and burn it. See what happens. I don't mean burn it like
I
smoke.
just think, that would be a really cool thing, because we toss all that, what are you going to do with it? It's not like you can smoke it.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing on it.
That'd be pretty cool. I've kind of suggested something similar to that. But mine was like rosin chips.
You did?
Well, mine was like the chips I use from the rosin process, putting them in a smoker, basically, and using them for like a smoking purposes for like meat. But yours is more of a fuel.
That'd definitely be good for the chef, I'll tell you that. Right?
Right.
That's funny.
That's funny. Yeah, so check it out. So since we talked to you last, Al had cancer, yes, he did. He had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al was diagnosed with cancer a little bit after we spoke with you the last time.
Yeah, wait, when did do you know the date when we spoke last?
Let me see here.
Research it.
No, yeah, you don't have to research it, but yeah, Al was diagnosed with kidney cancer in his right kidney, and it was right when COVID came on in
2020, man, right in the middle of COVID, right? I get diagnosed with kidney cancer. So this is October of 2020, and so we're freaked out. The scan comes back. My right kidney is basically a tumor, the whole thing. You know what I mean? So the tumor basically took over the whole right kidney. The doctor said, need to yank the kidney out, the glands, all of that stuff. So, but because it was COVID time, it was difficult to get into a hospital. It was difficult to get to see doctors. Families couldn't go in. You couldn't do anything. So it was super, super hectic. So anyway,
7 months.
No.
Yes, it was
3 months. It was October and January 7th of 2021. The doctors removed my entire right kidney with, all the strings and the everything that went with it. And here we are, man. It's in January coming up, it'll be 2 years, and I'm cancer free. So the first thing, as soon as we got the diagnosis, the first thing I started doing is I started taking a ml a day of RSO, like immediately, man. And I was still, we owned a business at that time still, an auto body business. And I was still running that. So I had to do that and still get up every morning and go to work. And I did that all the way through. I didn't have to have any chemo or anything like that. They took my kidney out, and I still take a little bit of RSO every single night. And I'm cancer free 2 years later, man.
Holy shit.
Can you believe that?
So yeah, well, a little bit has happened, man, since we talked to you.
Just a little. It was September 22nd, 2020 was that day. Last time.
Yeah, man. So it was a month later when I got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not shitting you, man. I looked like I was going to die.
He was.
I got to a point where we were freaking out because of COVID, and we couldn't get the doctors to get me in to get my kidney removed. They wanted to run me through all kinds of weird tests and stuff, and I already had to have like freaking bone scans with freaking contrast and all kinds of weird, just all kinds of stuff. Finally, we were able to get in. It was a weird, craziest thing too, because it was in the middle of COVID. So Hope and our youngest daughter take me to the hospital, and nobody could go in hospitals at that time, right? And everybody's freaked out because they can't get in to see, their loved ones and everything. So they drive me up, and I get my bags. Hope hands me a bag of RSO capsules, and says, I'll see you in a couple days. And so I went in there, and they wheeled me in, and I told my doctor that after the surgery that I didn't want any morphine or anything like that, no drugs. And the doctor was cool. He said he was cool with me bringing in my own RSO, and he actually put it in the paperwork, which was really crazy because
that was really crazy. Because part of his, when you leave the hospital and they send you home with a list of medication to take. Well, if you've ever left the hospital before, hopefully you haven't. The first thing they had on Al's record was, cannabis. So it was just, cool that he had that on there. And he was pretty open to it when I think the moral of the story for all of that is that, and I think Al's, he sees it a whole different way, but when we put him on that mill a day, that tumor was only like 4.5, almost 5 centimeters big. But we put him on a mill a day of oil. And when the doctor saw him a week or a month after his appointment, his surgery, a week, I don't know how long it was. The doctor came in and said, man, you are one lucky son of a bitch. He said, those things usually metastasize after 5, and yours was a size 8. So we feel like, both Al and I at that moment looked at each other and thought, yeah, because you were taking a mill a day of RSO, that thing, stayed put. So we really believe that was what kept Al from dying, because he literally would have normally had to have treatment after, because he had spread, because they waited so long because of COVID. And it was only because of COVID, that it was such a dangerous thing that was going on, because they couldn't get him in for his surgery. But he was taking medicine and it protected him. And that's the cool part. We really believe that was the cool part.
Yeah, so that's so I became our very own test rat, you know what I mean? Because that's the recommended dose for anybody that's in the battle when they're fighting cancer. It's a mill a day. You got to have a mill a day if you're going to try and kill any cells.
Well,
and I got to tell you, it's a lot, man. If you're not ready, I'm very cannabis tolerant. You know what I mean? I've been smoking weed for 50 freaking years. So, and it'll wobble you, man.
So how much
I
exactly? I
don't
mean,
suggest anybody do that hasn't used cannabis before.
Right.
how much basically is like a mill? If you is that like a teaspoon worth? I mean,
Well, no, okay, so just it's kind of okay. So just picture a gram of like flour. Try to picture a gram of flour, okay, like a little bud that would weigh about a gram. Well, everybody measures dry weight in grams, but RSO is wet weight, so we measure it in mils. So approximately the same, a gram a mil. You know, so if you see a gram in a dab dish, then it's approximately going to be about the same amount of RSO, because you know you measure
better known as like a vial. You know, in the old days, we used to.
The darts.
We used to buy hash oil, and we'd buy a vial of hash oil, and that was a mill. You know, so it's, and you know, it's actually, you know, at 70% THC. That's a whole shit ton of THC to run through your bloodstream every single day. You know what I mean? You don't realize it until you do it.
That isn't cannabis tolerant, because it's really hard and it could make you very anxious, and there's not any reason for it. There's no reason for anybody to have to do it right away. We just did because he could, not because he should. I do like to make my patients ease into it so that, you know, they're not freaked out by. I'd rather my clients ease into it and then use it because they're not scared to death, because then ease into it so their body grows accustomed to it, and then they're more tolerant. It's easier to push it after, you know, a couple of weeks of starting with a full spectrum CBD and then working slowly into the 1-to-1, and then
everybody's system's different.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody thinks they have the magic answer, but in my experience, you know, there isn't one client that takes the same amount. There isn't, you know, one cancer that acts the same. There isn't, you know, everybody's cannabinoidal system in their own body, because we are born with them, it reacts different, and every strain of flower has a different terpene profile. So everything really has to be that perfect, you know, bond for it to do what we are hoping that it does. And I always make sure I say I'm not God and I make no guarantees, you know, but shoot, we're here to help make the medicine, and together we'll heal people.
Right on.
Yeah.
So
amen.
So when it was when it came to Al, was there a special vial that you set back? You know what I mean? If I make RSO, I would guarantee I would have me a special stash just in case I ever got sick. Was there?
We never thought it was going to come ever. Who would expect that? So weird. You know, that's what we do for a living. Well, that's what I do. And now Al does. Who would have thought that it would be in your own, you know, backyard? It was just, it was crazy. And like Al said, it was kind of like a test thing. But as far as Al having a special stash, I'd be totally lying if I said he had a special stash. He gets everybody else's medicine, just like everybody else is great stuff.
And I gotta be honest with you, man. I mean, you know, what we start with, the flower that we start with, I mean, it's all so good because we only use the strongest we can find. So it's like trying to choose which kid is your favorite kid. You know what I mean? It's just one of those choices that can't be made sometimes.
So when you mentioned the strongest there you can find, does that entail like the terpeus? I mean, do terps play a key in this recipe?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. Al is working with a lot of strains now and trying to, you work with some of the things that we're finding are more successful than others. There's always, that good old strawberry cough seems to be in pretty much every.
It extracts really well.
Yeah, and it's a really, really good cancer medication. So we find that if we can include that in our mix, that's really good. So we always are looking for new things that can help. And the only way we know that is by our clients that are using it for pain and for cancer. And we just, keep track of the knowledge that we learn from each person and, what happens. And, I've been doing this a long time now, and we have seen like so many amazing things happen now over the past few years that it's just impossible to deny that this medication doesn't help in any way. And I don't mean this by any disregard, but, death is hard, but we've only lost 5 clients in 12 years. That's pretty good. I don't say it's pretty good because I hate to say that, but I think the medicine is incredible. If it's made right, not just mine, but it is incredible. Mine's good.
Yours definitely good. 100%. And so I got a lot of questions, I guess, and you don't have to answer, you know what I mean? I understand proprietary is proprietary. But
we're pretty open.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That means we can help more people that, you know what I mean, we can help, the better, 100%. So has your method in actually preparing the oil changed any, or is it kind of the same? And yeah, before I guess we head down that road, as you kind of mentioned, we're always learning, or we should be trying to be learning, be open-minded about things. And I guess back when the last time I talked with you, I guess I was still a little naive about preparation of RSO, because now I kind of meant the perspective, it's kind of an intention thing, or it could be a more, you're doing it with a mindset of one way of another of an outcome. Okay.
Right.
So back in the day, chlorophyll would be one of those things. Right. Oh, you want to wash quick, not have it as less chlorophyll in there. Right. The more I kind of listened to some stuff and learned about chlorophyll, I kind of thought, more it has a place. I mean, why it was like a revelation. I was like, why are we fucking taking this out?
Yeah. It does. You're absolutely right.
That's exactly right.
It absolutely does have a place. So
what we found is the zone that we found for it to work the very best for fighting cancer, for killing cells and stuff, is at about 70%. That's like the sweet spot, 70% THC. So that leaves 30% of all of the other terpenes and some chlorophyll and all of that stuff. Now, when we have somebody that has like constipation issues or whatever, then we might make them something special and add and crush it up a little bit and intentionally have a little more chlorophyll mixed into the thing.
Which would test more like at 55% instead of 70%. Because see, the more you take out and the THC is going to replace that amount. So chlorophyll is important, and it is in all RSO. That's partly what makes it dark. So
so the type of patient that would be targeted for would be the guy that is in the thick of it, battling cancer, and he or she is having chemo or radiation done and all of that kind of stuff. And they're, with all the medication, they're constipated. You know, it's amazing. It's an amazing laxative in the oil when it's there.
And we do treat those clients who are going through Western medicine, chemo and radiation. I never, ever, ever tell anybody not to do what their doctor says. But I always tell them to also treat themselves with cannabis oil, whether, you know, they're continuing their treatment with their doctor or not. We do run CBD, you know, all our flour is tested and everything's legal, and there's no pesticides, everything's clean. So we do CBD RSO as well. And that is a great option for folks who are dealing with arthritis, older folks that don't want to get high, but they need some relief from inflammation. And we find that it's helping a lot of people with those fiber type issues, fibromyalgia, diverticulitis, all that type of stuff. So we're helping colon cancer with those type of people and with that type of oil. And so it's important, the chlorophyll, that you bring that up, because we were always, you know, most oil makers were always trying to get it as gold as possible and as clear as possible. And it's beautiful when it's like that, no doubt. When you make oil and you have passion to do it and you're looking at it, you want to see that beautiful, clear, golden clear. But you do have to pay attention to that chlorophyll thing. So you are absolutely right. There's a lot of things that we strive for that we forget, that medicine is not supposed to be a distillate. It's not. So it is going to have particulate in it from the plant. You know, you don't want to filter too much. It's important you leave the medicine in there. That's why you make it that way. However, you want it to be smooth and creamy, and so that it's palatable, because, you know, for me, we treat a lot of autistic children. We treat a lot of autism. I can't think of the name of the young problems, but they don't like the texture of grittiness in their mouths. So it's real important that that everything that you do, even though you don't want to take that material out of your oil, you want to make sure it's in your oil creamy and not mushed up as a plant. You need it to be washed off that plant, not crushed off that plant. So we like to, when our oil is a little too chlorophyll-y, all we do is stick it out into some sunlight or some LED light, and we remove a little bit of the chlorophyll, and it's enough for our clients to have that important medication in there. You're right. I think I'm talking too much. Al's tapping me with his toe.
No, I'm reacting to the rip I just took.
Oh.
So, you know, I've been smoking this thing almost the whole time. I'm only a third done with this thing.
I've finished mine.
Smoking me out with it.
I'm almost ready for another run.
I think dogs are getting stoned too.
So yeah, so that's going on with we're doing now. What other questions you got?
I'm getting better at this. I've got lots if you want to talk. Well, I guess right off the cuff, without getting.
By the way, we just moved into this house like 8 days ago, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have Wi-Fi yet, so we don't have TV. So let's have at it.
We have lights.
Let's do
anything.
This.
We're good. We slept on the floor last night.
All right. I guess hell yeah. I want to know real quick, because I was wondering, you know, which I kind of noted when you were talking about you and what you do. I mean, she kind of, yeah, that's what I do. You used to do make the medicine, but she kind of hinted to nowadays you seem to be more full-time and focused on the medicine too. Was that in part by because of the cancer, and you kind of seen, you know what I mean, the magic and the healing power, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That part paired with the fact that we still had another business up and running too. So I went through cancer, and then it took me a year to get our other business up and rolling, and to where I could get it to the point where I could sell the whole business. So we sold the business. And now that we've moved out here, so I started working a little more with her, and now I'm completely retired, and I'm
he is not retired. He thinks he's retired. He is not retired. He thinks he's retired. He just doesn't.
But I still have my grow gun.
Yeah, he thinks he's gonna be. See, he doesn't know what it's like to work for me yet.
Nice. You look like you came back 100%. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. You know what? Al came back 100% for sure.
Yeah.
He was not looking so good for a while. Yeah, he lost 55 pounds, 60 pounds, and he's now back into his normal pants. So he's doing good. He's really doing good. And he likes to eat the gummies every night. Actually, both of us like the CBD gummies every night.
Yeah, so that's another thing. When you become a test rat, you start. I learned a lot of things, man. I learned what CBD does and doesn't do, versus THC. I learned when the best times to use CBD was, you know what I mean? Because I could feel it, because I knew what the THC felt like, you know what I mean? So, kind of to put it in a nutshell, like gummy wise, if you were to call me and say, hey man, I'm having a hard time sleeping, blah, 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 first thing I would say is RSO CBD gummy. Believe it or not, even though you would think that the THC gummy is going to get me stoned and it's going to knock me out and all that, right? But what happens is it gets you stoned, and next thing you know, you're like, yeah, let's go. The CBD gummies, I shit you not, they'll ensure you a good night's sleep. And same thing, when I was going through the cancer and stuff, if anybody ever gets too stoned, like whether they're smoking flower or concentrates or eating edibles or whatever, the best thing to do is take some CBD, RSO CBD. It just kills it. Well, it kills the anxiety.
It helps the anxiety a lot. Yeah.
For me, it kills it.
Al's been able to try different things for himself now, because now that he's only with one kidney, he's very conscious about not taking Tylenol or Motrin or anything like that, or any kind of drugs in general, because now he only has one kidney. So when I typically will reach for, a Motrin because I'm disabled and I have had a lot going on in my life, he'll tell me, go take a CBD gummy, because, it helps me with everything, or remind me that I should use my cream if I'm hurting, because it really does work. And, I use it. I think we take it for granted when your hands are on it every day. Well, the cream especially, where I could use that every day and feel so much better if I would just use it. He will tell me, why don't you use it? It's like, I guess I forget, because I'm using it all the time with my hands in it all the time. I forget how effective these medications can be, and not just mine, but there's a lot of good stuff being done out there right now. I'm really impressed with the women that are growing, and not just the women, but all the young kids that are learning from the older generations. Pretty cool. and all the older generations that's still hanging on to all those great strains that are the old, time strains from our younger days. And well, we didn't really have strains in our younger days.
No,
We had bag weed with bag seed weed, but
not in the early days.
yeah, in the early days, you didn't even know.
How old we are.
You can tell how old we are. So great.
You mentioned a lot of good points, but I never really even considered this fact until I kind of watched this documentary on Chinese education. Okay. And they said that a lot of their teachers over there, you would think vice versa, kind of as you said, there was a lot of these new growers learning a lot from these older growers, which is quite true. But what I didn't ever consider was, this education fact over there that the younger teachers were. And I thought to myself, wow, that really makes sense in a lot of ways, because, they're taking off with a lot of the information that we've already provided for them with a new vigor. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of, we can learn a lot from the younger generation as well. It works both ways. You know what I mean? We can teach, but we can also learn from that vigor. You know what I mean? And at least a lot of these new growers are coming strong. You know what I mean? Because they started off with a better benchmark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's great. That's such a cool thing, isn't it? That's what I'm talking about. I just think it's so cool how things have everybody can, the younger generation can take what the older generation says, and
well, especially the younger kids that botany background and stuff like that. That's just they're just smart, so but it's funny because us both growing up and living in Southern California, it's like our friends there, I mean, we have so many friends that grow, and it's funny because I have friends that grow a shit ton. I have friends that grow a little bit. I have guys that grow hydro. I have friends that grow indoor in soil. I got friends that do it in cocoa. I've got friends, so I can and I see them all, and it's funny because in my view, there is no right and there is no wrong. You know what I mean? And if I think if everybody could just take a little chunk and be open-minded away from what everybody's doing, even if you don't do it, if you know what they're doing, it sure makes what you are doing much better. You know what I mean? Because it's all information, man. I know guys that spend tons of money on nutrients and stuff like that. And I know guys that don't spend anything.
Yeah. And all the flour's good.
And they're all good.
It's crazy because everybody has their own little technique or twist or, it's really cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
There is, I've seen that at the Organics Cup lately, man, a lot of amazing flour, which I'm sure was produced for, next to nothing as far as inputs go. How are you growing these days? Are you a soil guy? Are you outdoor, indoor? How has the move affected that?
Well, I'm not up and rolling yet, but one of the reasons why we picked this particular spot is because we have a huge grow facility and lab that are like right in the same building, and it's just awesome. Really cool.
Yeah, it's really convenient. Makes it nice because we both can do our own thing. Al can help me as well, and it's really cool.
Yep, it's just the two of us, man. We moved to a town where we don't know anybody. Our our youngest daughter just graduated from grad school, and she got her internship in Las Vegas. So she lives in North Las Vegas. So we're about an hour away from there, which is cool, because if we ever want to go have a nice dinner, or we'll see a show or whatever, we will go into Vegas. But we're cool being in the country.
We're kind of loners.
No, we're all there.
Well, it's hard, Eagle, to do anything but when you make medicine all day long, 24/7. So, right. My big thing with people is that, everyone's complaining about how much RSO is and how expensive it is. And it's expensive for people, but it takes so much work to make the medication right one time. To do it every single day for however many years now, it's very taxing. And the issue is not even so much making the medicine, but if you're a kind and caring medicine maker, then you're kind and caring to your clientele, which means you spend 70% of your time, consulting and helping and supporting. And that's, in my opinion, priceless. Because if you make the medicine and you provide it for people, you should be there for your clients.
I agree. You mentioned the word I was trying to say when we were talking about oil earlier, was making it with intention. That was the phrase I was looking at. That that again, I never had really realized it until I had spoken with a lot of people about their processes of making oil. And that's when I kind of understood that even it can be a simple thing, but it can and almost should be done with intention.
Absolutely.
So is it kind of individualized? Yeah, I heard you mention you do kind of individualize it a little bit, and
not really, not necessarily. Let me not make that a mistake first, so we don't misunderstand. Al didn't really mean that. We run a couple of different things on a consistent basis. It's not like we customize. We have, there isn't a time. There's a time and a place for that. And that's something I work with my clients individually with. Of course, we have to work up to a certain amount, and we do that slowly. And there are some custom mixes made. Yes. However, on a normal basis, you can get a hold of me and you can get a straight THC. You can get a CBD, or you can get a 1-to-1 or a CBD distillate. And typically that's what's on my menu. But if you are a cancer client or a pain client, then you're going to get handled differently. You're not buying the medicine for your own. Some people have never used it, have never touched it, most of my clientele is sick people. And those folks that want to use it for recreation, that's great. I provide that too, just on a different level, because those people only need little bits where my cancer clients need a lot. And we make exceptions in financial arrangements, blah, blah, blah. So it's really cool. We're really cool. It's really cool that we're not so big. I want to be big, but I don't mean like that. I want to help I want to help other people learn how to do what I do, because I'm not going to be here forever. And a lot of people can learn that it's not, if everybody did more to help, then there'd be no problem with people making less than you have to. There would be less people having to do what I do on a 24/7 basis. We'd have a lot more people being able to take regular 5-day work weeks instead of, working 24/7. Because, if you're working around the world, you're answering the phone at you know, in Europe, a lot of clients across the country are 8 hours ahead of us. So I'm sorry, we got a new puppy. Let me excuse Al for a moment. We got a new puppy yesterday, and Al decided that it might be a good time to take him out. And so he's back now.
No worries.
So he disappeared, and I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that he didn't just drop dead from the death stick or anything.
That's funny now.
Took the puppy out. So,
Okay.
And there you go. And everybody that knows me, Basil, my service dog, is not exactly thrilled. She's learning, but to be thrilled, but he does not thrill her at all. We're having a time.
It's funny. He's a good looking pup though, for sure.
He's a cute pup. He's a sheepadoodle. So he's a half sheep dog, English sheep herding dog. And then he's other half,
he looks like a giant skunk.
I was gonna say when she said sheep herding dog, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because I was getting ready to say that's a huge fucking puppy. Jeez.
He's so big, but you know, in all fairness, he's a rescue pup. And whoever had him, he's only like 4 months old. And so we didn't move here but he's a rescue puppy, and I couldn't say no at all. He came to me covered in poo-poo, and he's just the precious boy.
He's cool, yeah.
He's really good. So he's got that sheep dog, even though he has poodle. He's really smart. But he's a little sketchy, not with us anymore, but because he's scared, because whoever had him was hurting him, and that just kills me, because I love animals, and we treat animals too, by the way. Yeah.
There is a place they have the same receptors we do, right?
Yeah, and you know, I swear I wake up every single day with a smile on my face. And I do most of the time like the pups more than people.
The other one's snoozing over there.
Yeah, the other one's not so happy, so she can just stay over there if she wants. So yeah, we're taking care of animals too with this stuff.
Still,
Nobody.
So I guess I want to kind of get back. Animals, it definitely helps animals. I had a small dog that was a mix of a Chihuahua and a Yorkie, and she most definitely had anxiety issues. She would wake up if you left her alone, or sometimes at night, she would just catch this anxiety, and she would start slow, but just and then it get louder and louder, and then she'd get all the dogs in the house howling before you could get her calmed down. And CBD helped a ton with that girl. So it does help with pets quite a bit.
It does.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because they're not very tolerant to THC, so you got to be super, super careful with it. But
yeah, you really want to make sure that you're not getting them high, because not that it's dangerous, because it's not dangerous for them. What it is that if a dog or a cat or whatever animal gets THC in its system and gets anxious because they don't know what's happening to them, they don't know they're getting high, they don't realize they're getting high. So they get that like zoomy effect where they run around for a minute, and you get that real nice, like, I feel good, and then they get sick. And then they don't feel good because they're either throwing up, or depending on how much or whatever. But we really try not to do that to the animals. So that's where the CBD comes in. It's okay to treat a dog with CBD, but it's not really great unless we're dealing with serious cancer issues to treat a dog with THC. We do treat dogs with cancer, by the way, and we have had some success, and it's really, I mean, I haven't had a lot, so there's not a lot of success, but there's the few that I've had, we've had success. I find it amazing every time. I'm just like, every time I find it amazing what happens. I have a gentleman who's treating a brain tumor now for a little over a year, and his tumor has shrunk. He couldn't speak. He was having motor skill problems, lots of pain, and his brain tumor is to the point now where he's back at work, where he's driving back at work and no problem at all. So he still has this tumor, but it's shrinking and it's resolving itself, and he's still medicating, but he's so tolerant now. He can go to work every day, and it's really great. It's amazing. And when he showed me the scans, when I get to post those pictures of that, is amazing to me, because that's all he's doing. He's not being treated by the doctors. The doctors told him, no more here. There's not much more. We go home and, plan, the rest of your days to be happy, or whatever they say. I don't know. And it's your cancer. I can get through a lot of cancer people, they don't understand the time, the cost, why they don't want to get high. But it's like, look, cancer's tough. You can't fight fire if you don't have fire. And so with cancer, just in my knowledge of cancer and the whole experience of dealing with clients with cancer, you're going to hit it from every angle you freaking can. I don't care what anybody says. If someone tells me I have cancer, not that we shouldn't be eating right anyway, but there are certain things we should be really doing. If we're sick, you do everything. I mean, if the doctor tells you to do this, you do that. If you can do that, you do that also. If you can it's fire. You got to fight back. You got to. If it will take over, it can. It's hard to watch too. You don't, anyway, it's just a thing, but it works great for so many other things too. So many other things. So we treat all kinds of issues, migraines and, sore ears and nerves and elbows. It's a wonderful medication.
Most certainly is. That's why I kind of ask about the intention thing with the making the oil. So people talk a lot about the decarb process. How important do you think that is, especially when we talk about a medicine and, trying to pull the most out of it as we can? Is it a yay or nay when we're talking about medicine, or is that more of a rec thing?
No, I'll tell you. We've been doing some things with fresh frozen. And so we haven't been decarbing the flour at that time. But in the process of running RSO, it does get decarbed. So, really, in all honesty, the minute you flame anything, it's going to get decarbed. So, I personally don't necessarily find the fresh frozen flour to extract as well as a cured, flour that has been through that process.
Yeah, actually even dry.
Yeah, actually even a little drier is a good for us anyway, because some people run it different, but for us anyway, because we run a winterization method where we run everything at a below 0 degrees where you can't touch it with your hands. The flour and the ethanol is that cold. So I can't say that for everybody, but for us, that a little drier of a flour, something that has been, whatever the growers, for us do with it to give it to me in that process of the, what's my requirements, and all our flour gets tested. Actually, I like it better, to be just regular, we decarb anyway. So, everything in RSO is decarbed. It's not like running well, even when you run a hash press, you're heating it at that point. So even if you run a fresh frozen, you're decarbing it as you're pressing. I don't know if people would agree with me or not, but that's just my experience.
Makes good sense to me, because it seems like on a dryer, when you're working with it more drier, it's absorbing the alcohol, and then you're kind of squeezing it back out or getting it back out, to where if it were fresh, the water would be holding the place where the alcohol could be.
Yeah. And the trichomes hang on to, when it's frozen, when it's fresh like that, the trichomes are hanging on to that green plant you just took down. So, because it immediately comes down and goes into a sub below, 12-degree freezer. So
it's frozen.
It's frozen, and you're right, because it has all that water. It takes a lot when you're extracting anyway, because you are pulling water, you're separating water and ethanol, and obviously water and oil doesn't mix. So it's not, in my opinion, it's beautiful oil, and it's it's like it's live, because it's evolving. But the minute you smoke it, burn it. Now, if you're taking it, orally, you'll have less of that happening, the decarb process happening to it. But we decarb when we run oil anyway. So in our process, it's going to be done, at the end of the process, because I make sure that there's no ethanol in my product. So we definitely are decarbing when we're doing that. So, that's important. And I don't, everybody has their own way. This is our way. It doesn't mean it's the right way, the only way. It's a way. And it's the best way for us to do it with the facilities we have. And I could go to LA. I could go to LA as much as I want every day, and I can run all big batches of flower there, but and I want to, and I do, of course, because that's my lab there. So I like to be on that team, and they're a great group of folks that I learn from, and we all work together, and they do distribute my product, and I'm under their license, and it's really great. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything they've done for me. So I like it, and I want to go there. So I don't want to be a mistake, but it's really hard to leave here. I mean, it's really beautiful here. LA is not a pretty place these days. So it's beautiful here in Nevada right now, right at this time, and LA's having a little bit of a rough time. So as long as everything is organic and my lab is certified, good, we're good to go. And we're using all legal tested flower. Everything we have and grow on our farms has to go through a legal testing process. So we can't operate any other way now. So that's really cool for us as well, that we know, what our numbers are, what our flower is, what our CBD is, and it's just gorgeous. And because of that, we have these great contacts with these really cool people who are just amazing people. I think they're really neat people in the industry and high up there, and I like their loyalty and their care and their honesty. It's been really cool operation, and there's so many people I've met that are just so really cool in this industry. And then you are able to weed out the good ones and the bad ones.
You guys are a couple of the good ones for sure.
I hope so. We're trying.
So again, I think, there's every method should be, thrown out there, because every variation does help, and there are that's kind of what I'm leading to a little bit. There are so many variations. There's little tweaks that we can do that, or people have do in their recipes one way or another, that have led to success one way or another.
Absolutely.
And I think that, At one point, again, I was on the fence one side or the other with the decarb thing. I, again, thought it was a little bit unnecessary. And then when I talked with another oil maker, they said that in their opinion, their recipe, that it did have some intention there because it was working it a little bit further down towards like the end, and you were capturing more in the than of that at the end process, making it more sedative and stuff like that, or or versus the non-decarb, where we kind of discussed maybe that would lean to more towards like a daytime recipe because it wasn't work so further down.
There's all that, and it really does depend, Eagle, on your own profile and your own system, because I have to tell you, I get up in the morning and I hurt every day. I don't take pain medication. I detoxed a couple of times from that shit, and I don't take it anymore. And I'll tell you, I use a certain strain of flour that works for me. It's not the strongest flour. It's not, it's some
Pretty
people,
strong. Pretty strong.
Al says it's pretty strong, but Al, puppy's pooping. Sorry.
It's the puppy. He knew.
No, I'm so sorry. Oh no. Anyway.
He knew it was coming too.
Interesting.
That wasn't on
Good.
camera.
Hey, we wanted that to happen because I don't even want to tell you what happened in his condo last night. So anyway, yeah, I don't even remember what we're freaking talking about now. What were how embarrassing.
We would have never known.
I couldn't. It was like right there gonna happen. Just he's going. He's finishing. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it really does depend, because like I said, I get up in the morning and I don't move well, so I take my first medicated rip and I'm a total rig user. I don't like to smoke joints. I keep my bong by me all day long, and I seriously do keep it by me Al thinks he's tolerant. Oh boy. And it helps me get through the day. And so everybody's different. Someone else would smoke that pot and say, oh no, I couldn't smoke that pot and go to sleep. And no, well, I can't smoke that pot and not go to sleep during the day. So it just depends on how your body reacts and what you like best. What you like to. I like to smoke everything, don't get me wrong. And I think everything is great. I just everybody's different. When somebody says, oh, this is better, that's better, it doesn't. When I walk into a dispensary to purchase a jar of flour, my question to them isn't what's the strongest thing, what's testing the strongest. It's what's the freshest. Because in my opinion, I care way more about what time it got to that dispensary than how strong it is. And in my opinion, that would make it much better. So if you're more concerned about that, it's not always the 31% or the 33% flour that will get you higher. I mean, the flour I use every day is a 17, 18% flour. And some people could go to sleep on it and some people won't feel it. It just depends what you like. So it's why it's so cool that there's so much out there for everybody.
So since you're a bong smoker, do you have like little bong balls that you, instead they're like kind of like the death stick there, but they're little cannonballs, for your bong?
Oh my God, don't get me started on another product. That would be a great idea, huh? Bong balls. Wait, that sounds terrible. Bong balls. Yeah, I don't. I keep it right here on my little fuck cancer tray here that an old client gave me. I love it. And I just keep my daily dose out there on there, and I use it all day long. All day. And did you make a mistake? Mhm.
That is a huge puppy. Huge puppy.
He is, right? He's gonna be a huge boy. Yeah, so anyway, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was well. It was well. Well, since the last time that I spoke with you, I have become a grandfather. And
No. No way. What
yes,
are you? What, like 19?
yeah,
No,
thank
I'm
you.
kidding.
No ways. But no, actually, he's 6 months now.
Aw.
And yeah,
Isn't that the best? The
it
grandpa
is.
thing.
It is. I fucking kind of dreaded it. You know what I mean? Honestly,
You
as
did?
your kids, well, when your kids are growing up, fuck yeah. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah.
You're
Oh,
constantly
like as
going,
a,
no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
don't make me a grandpa. Yeah, no. I was not looking forward to that. But when it happened very quickly and didn't really have a lot of time to kind of even fathom that end of it, and just more, yeah. But I tell you what, it was the recharge I needed, to be
Oh,
honest. When I held
I'll
that little
tell you,
guy, man, oof.
no love like the grandchild's love, right?
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. Yes, we're grandparents too, so we totally know our granddaughter, our oldest, is in college. So yeah, it's awesome. And we have little ones too. We have 2-year-old and an 8-year-old. So that's great. So what's his name?
Chase.
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 Oh no.
Yes. Hold on. I've got pictures if you'd
Okay,
like to
let's see.
see.
Okay, let's see him.
All right.
It's the proud grandpa.
Yeah. There's me and him yesterday.
Oh, you guys have the same hairdo.
Right?
How cute. Look at him. Oh no.
He is a little
Look how
guy.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh, he's precious. How cute. Is he good?
He's amazing. He is
He
amazing
He
kid.
doesn't cry.
Mm.
Not very
Oh,
much.
too much love surrounding that boy.
Aw, that's perfect. That's the way it should be.
He's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah, it was
very
a
cool.
change of life I didn't see coming, but
Yeah,
but it was pretty awesome. I gotta
puts a
say.
different perspective on things.
It does.
It does.
It really does. Yeah. So,
Yep. Yep. It's great. God is great.
so Al, are you still venturing down the wine alley there?
Yeah, of course. I'm still drinking wine, of course, but I'm not really pursuing any. It's funny. After I sold our other business, I was home growing. I got a little bored, so I took a job part time selling wine on the sales floor at a Bevmo. I was the manager of the wine department. So, but that's about it. Other than that, there's actually a couple of wineries here in Nevada that I've been to recently. So yeah, I'm still into the wine.
He's not drinking as much though now because of his kidney problem issue.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, you only got one, so you got to keep it good.
Got to keep things pumping.
Yeah, just smoke cannabis. That won't hurt your kidney. That won't hurt his kidney. Isn't that cool? That's the cool thing about cannabis. It's like you don't have to worry about it hurting your kidney.
Right.
Sheesh. Every year I go to the doctor, I get a lung x-ray. Everyone's, oh God, your lungs must be terrible, Hope. I go, my doctor's like, man, you're beautiful. Like, yeah, because I smoke pot every day. And then actually he tells me all the time that, and now that our lungs, because we smoke bongs every day, that they're stronger because they go out, because we get good, deep breaths in all the time. And because we're not smoking cigarettes or, heroin or anything, we're actually doing good for our lungs, believe it or not.
I got a funny story. So they cut me open and they use this machine to friggin' take my kidney out, right? And they wheel me into the recovery room, and I wake up like about 2 hours later, and the nurse comes in and she's like, "Oh, Mr. Chili, I'm here to give you your medicine." I'm like, "Oh yeah, what you got?" And she's like, "Well, I have morphine." And I stop her. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. No morphine." I said, didn't you read the doctor's orders?" And she goes, "Mr. Chili." She goes, "You had major surgery. You are going to be in excruciating pain." I said, "It's okay. I got it. Don't sweat it. I'm going to be fine. No morphine." She goes, "Okay." She walks over and she hands me one of those little plastic things, She says, "Well, you got to be able to blow into this and make the ball go all the way up before the doctor will let you leave." And I just came out of the friggin' surgery, man. I grabbed the thing, I go, and it goes, and the lady just looked at me and just turned away and split. I was like, "I'm sorry, lady. I got good lungs."
So I'm immediately scared here. You said a fucking machine. Did they like throw you in a jig and that thing just like cut out just like a hunk or what?
Very interesting, actually.
It's kind of cool.
A robot.
The way it did it, because it's like
it's like a robot.
So I got a hole there, and a slice there, like right on my belt line, about like that. And that's where, so all this stuff, did all the work as far as cutting everything that needed to be cut or whatever. And then they ripped everything out through that part.
Eagle, without all that description, yeah, the doctors did it on a machine. Literally, the arms that went into Al's body were not human. They literally were robotic arms. Literally. The doctor that invented the machine was the doctor that did Al's surgery, which was really cool. So pretty neat, very very, very cool. I mean, very interesting afterwards. It wasn't interesting before. It was like really interesting after. All I cared about before was get the fucking thing out. Yeah. But I didn't care how he cut the fucking thing out. Just get that shit out. And then, but after it was out, it was pretty cool to read about the machine and the doctor, and really cool. It's amazing what they're doing now in that part of the medical industry. I mean, there's, the scientists are just amazing.
So my doctor, and well, anybody that it's called a nephrectomy is what that operation is. But he, and normal, 8-week recovery. So for me, because I didn't take any opioids or any, I just healed myself with cannabis, I was back at my office in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't feeling
I had a
great.
cane. I was walking with a cane. You know what I mean? But
that office was an hour and a half away both ways. So he did. It was like on the freeway 3 hours a day. Yeah.
And I was taking a half a mill of oil at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still takes quite a bit of oil on a monthly basis, just to keep things, I suppose when I haven't had cancer, thank God. But I guess once you for most of my clients, and Al even, you just always are a cancer patient or a cancer person after, and you just never feel like you're ever going to be free of it. And no matter, even if you are, you're always waiting that next scan, and it's got to be very, I can see it's very like anxiety ridden for people. Their whole days are waiting for that, that 6-month scan, the 9-month scan, the 12-month scan, and every scan, it's, a scary thing. And a week before, they're dealing with that anxiety. That I think the cannabis helps all that through all that. And so, even after cancer, we try to keep our clients, a little medicated and feeling less anxious. That's where the CBD comes in great. And because shit, I feel like they live with it now. It's like an emotional thing, and always good to be aware that it is a possibility for anybody to get a bad test, and we all just have to be very, thank God that we are healthy and that we take care of ourselves really seriously. This is also a business where we see a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of, sadness, but in most cases, we're able to help, and that's just bitching, in my opinion.
Yeah, the sad thing is we get a lot of the non-cannabis people. The sad thing is a lot of them turn to cannabis as a last resort. You know what I mean? So, man, sometimes we get the call, and dad's got stage 4 brain cancer, and he's in the hospital, and
it's not even brain cancer. It's just like he was started as prostate cancer, didn't take care of it. All of a sudden it's metastasized. It's everywhere in the lymph nodes. And then you're dealing with a situation where they ho-hum-ha about it as well. The price, cost, blah, blah, blah. And then before I can get medicine out, that person has passed. And that's so hard because, and then though also, we never push because it's everybody's choice. Let me say, I'm not out there to sell my oil. I'm not. I'm out. I have to sell it because I can't make it otherwise. And I like to say that I'm more like Robin Hood because I do have clients that can afford it, and I have clients that can't afford it. So I do, we do work with people differently. Yeah, we do. People always get all hurt that, oh, you did this for that or that one for this or whatever on these social media sites. And, screw that. The people that can help, and the people that can't, we work with. And it's a really special. My husband thinks I'm talking too much. He's over there going like this. So anyway, I think it's really cool that we care about our clients at Hope Farms, and my oil is made with intention for sure. And I watch every single batch of it. Nothing, even if my employees make it, just goes by without me looking at it, ever. I stir every single batch, and I make a lot. I make it every single day.
So could you imagine how hard it is for me to work for her? No, I'm just teasing. No, we get along great. But she is right. She does put her hands on everything. And it's a lot. It's a lot, man. It's morning till night.
It's morning till night. And you know what? It's also like a lot of like preparation and, getting all that stuff out to everybody too.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely more for us. It's definitely lifestyle and definitely not a job.
Yeah, we love it. We love doing what we do. We care. We love every batch is like, if it's super special, I like to put it on Instagram or, my website and show it so that it can be seen, you know, so people can see what it could look like. And if people want to make it like that, they can call me. And I'm the cool part is that we share where there's no proprietary recipe for RSO. You know, like you said, it's not that more. It's if you care about doing it, it's just really hard to do every single day on that type of level where you care every single day about every single batch of RSO. That is a lot of work, that part. And so that's the only difference between what I believe I do and some of the others is that we do this every single day and we care every single day. And we mail every single day. I mean, we're getting people their medicine every single day and working and processing and manufacturing and boxing and packaging. And it's crazy. It's really great that we have the opportunity we feel privileged to have the opportunity to help people. And we're happy that we can. It's cool that we can do this, we think.
Think it's awesome what you guys do too. You know, again, I think more and more as recreational cannabis is going forward, and I honestly think the push for recreational cannabis versus medical cannabis, you know, getting behind that, the government really getting behind that is big pharma. I really believe they're the ones pushing recreational cannabis just so, as we talked about earlier, I can see it already. You know, the powerful message of the medicine of the plant. People walk right by that shit. Just give me that cheap, you know what I mean? And I think some of that is, like I'm saying, big pharma's pushing recreational cannabis just so because of that, you know what I mean? Just so medical cannabis will, kind of quietly snuff out and they can just keep pushing that poison.
I think that's going to change. I'm watching for that to change. I think it's my opinion. I don't know, you know, I'm just think that I'm seeing that there's so much education now about how cannabis is helping. I mean, even look at all the, I don't want to say fake CBD out there on the market, but it's not fake. It's just different. You know, the isolated CBD, there's a place for it. And that's where the animals come in and stuff. And there's a place for it. If you want to take CBD and you can't test positive for THC and you can't take a full spectrum CBD. So I believe that the medical industry of cannabis is slowly working its way back. Everybody's trying to get clean, all the solventless products, all the water hash, bubble hash, all that stuff is very clean. As long as they're, you know, processing clean, then it's such a safer, better way for it to be used medically now, because they don't have too much more to say. You know, what are they going to say about it too much more when everything's being processed so cleanly now? So, you know, I believe that it's going to find its way back. I don't know how long it'll take, but I believe people like myself, people like you, I'm not so much sure about this guy, but I think it's going to come back in a different way. You're starting to see it now in the dispensaries. Even now you see it. There's always that little corner where all the 1-to-1s are and the CBDs are and the salves are, and then everything looks more medical now than ever, if you notice. And so you can go in there with a medical rec and buy that stuff, but
you know, you're just talking about California, right?
Where you have it, if you have a legal dispensary, of course I'm talking about that. I mean, of course there's people
you guys have legal dispensaries there now.
Yeah.
Michigan's is recreational.
Yes, sir. And
yeah, it's just washing.
Hopefully they don't do what they did in California.
What a nightmare.
what did it do here? Oh, it completely took. That's what I'm saying. It took the fucking medical growers. They all threw in the fucking towel. They
Yes.
there's less to deal with on the rec side. We can have more. The fucking medical started falling immediately to the wayside. Step two, they tackle the caregivers right off the cuff. Soon as rec came into play, they started attacking the caregivers about the black market and overages and dirty medicine, supposedly. And what was funny was the medicine they were producing was dirty across the board, and they
Of
were
course.
turning it all into extracts because they couldn't get it onto the market. And then thirdly, and this has been lately, they gave every household, and don't get me wrong, plus and minuses, but this is as a caregiver, somebody that worries about the medicine. It's been so stupid. Okay, when this came into play, every household, and still does, has the ability to grow 12 plants legally. Whatever you can produce with that 12 plants, well, they've tightened up some, but in the first year, whatever you could produce with those 12 plants, you throw that in a closet. 50 pounds, man. I grew 50 fucking pounds. And that was cool. As long as you kept it in the closet and it was recreational, no worries. But you could walk right into my medical garden, and I better not have no more than 15 ounces available for patients at any one time. And then, okay, then I'm leading up to my next example here. The caregivers are flooding the black market with cannabis. As I just pointed out, the caregivers' hands are pretty well tied, and we all kind of watch our shit because we've always been, you know what I mean? We've been grateful for the opportunity to grow, but in the same aspect, we kind of, still live in fear that, somebody's going to knock on the door, check your plant count, look for overages, yada, yada, yada. So you kind of try to keep a tight rein on that. But again, so who's to blame for the overages or the extras on the street? Okay, is it the caregiver, the limited care amounts of caregivers, or is it the 12 plants per house that everybody fucking grew this year? Even if you didn't grow, I know people that hit up their grandmas, aunts, uncles. Hey, can I put 12 plants in your yard? You know what I mean? But it's the caregivers that's in the black market, you know what I mean? So that's their reason. We're still the reason why there's cannabis everywhere.
That's funny because in California, Southern California, I mean, we have shit tons of people that some of them we taught how to grow. We've got about three, four people that grow exclusively just for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of them will just grow my strains. So it's really cool. It's really cool. Exactly what you said. California is a funny place. So a little snapshot of what that looks like. The legal market here, or not here, in Southern California. We just left Desert Hot Springs. That's where we lived for the last 5 years. And that town, it's a town of 30,000 people, but they have legalized, big pharma style grow. So there's literally, there's probably 40 big giant grow houses out there in that town right now. And the problem is it's just big agriculture. You know what I mean? A lot of these places, they don't even have names. They're just
big warehouses, just empty, no names.
giant places.
Owned by all big one conglomerate.
So the problem is, what happened in California is we all got bypassed because the laws were so, I mean, it was so unruly expensive to be in the legal market, that it bypassed all of us growers, the people that were growing, and it went straight to big agriculture.
Yeah, that's why you find the best stuff on the black market.
So I know guys that work in some of them places.
Because those are the people that cared at the time. Everything got bought up and big and turned into big pharma shit. And that's why, and it's not even the way people think, really. We've had a little touch now of the legal market, because we do have a legal, product that we sell in the state of California. So, we have a little experience with that now. And, you have to, it's very difficult for anybody, even the people that, there's so many rules and laws. They make it so difficult. It's sketchy. There's so many stupid things they care about and put into place. And it's just ridiculous. It almost makes it impossible for the person who wants to put, a grower in their facility to operate, because they have all these requirements. Then they're being asked to sell their flower for $500 a pound. It's like, I used to sell my flower for $500 a pound. Remember when we used to sell our flower for a lot more than that? I'm talking about, Michigan is that good? I don't know what that means. Okay, I know, but I'm not talking about anything but California, and I don't live there anymore. I'm just talking about the laws in general. It was an example, Mr. Chili. So I'm just saying.
Oh, you lost sound.
I did.
There we go. We're getting Michigan prices are plummeting, though. This year, because of the influx of everybody growing on the recreational side, we've seen $50, $80, 80 ounces this year, and it's got a lot of growers.
Hard for the growers. Yeah,
it's got a lot of growers wanting to exit the market. And not just growers, but caregivers as too.
Cost you a good $100 to $150 a pound just to have somebody to trim it. If you don't trim yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of cost. People don't, especially if you're growing organically. Depending on how you're growing, there's still all the care, the time, more than anything, the time that you're spending, taking care. Some folks can put a seed in the ground and hope it grows and does well and fine. It's outside, whatever, inside. But if you are scoping your plants every day and you're making sure the nutrients are right and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you got another grow over there that's, that's doing,
battery's getting low.
So we might have to wrap it up soon. But if you have, you're doing your genetics over here and you're doing your males over there and your mom rooms over there, you want to be doing, it takes a lot of time, and people need to appreciate the people that are out there growing that stuff. It's beautiful when it's done right. Well, not that there's a right way. Again, some people, like Al said, throw it out there and it's gorgeous, and some people work at it, 24/7, and it's beautiful.
It is.
Is there any ugly pot?
I guess I've seen a few ugly pots, but
okay. All right.
Yeah, so I left California, and I turned everything I had, I turned to seed. You know what I mean? So I brought no clones or anything with me, and I literally I probably made Oh, I probably made, I don't know, 10,000 seeds just this last grow. And
Well,
so-
because he had to, because we didn't have a choice, because,
we were moving.
we sold our house we sold our house and our facility way too fast.
So I just
Oh, no.
crossed everything to everything. And I mean, I knew what I was
Intentionally.
doing. I didn't do it like that. But, you know, I made some really good crosses actually. And so this is going to be really cool, because this is going to be a really cool experiment for me, because I'm going to start fresh with my own seeds without bringing anything in from outside. And so it'll be interesting to see if I have any kind of bug issues if I don't bring anything in. I literally have enough seed where if I never get a clone from anybody else, I'll be fine. Yeah.
My whole life.
Nothing wrong with that, though. That is nothing wrong with that.
And he thinks I talk too much.
So if you find something special, will you continue to work that line down, or will you just continue to pop those seeds?
No. There's a lot of lines that I'm currently working on, just like with a target, you know, in mind. Yeah.
And for the mere price of shipping, beans are available.
That's not a bad deal. And, you know, but we need, that's the one thing I've kind of said of late, you know, it's more important now that we get people growing, you know, before the big recreational push goes. People need to realize if they're gonna want to find and continue to smoke great cannabis, unfortunately, it's gonna come down to them having to grow it themselves. You know, as you kind of mentioned, I was kind of smiling when I heard you talking earlier, Hope, there, because you kept using the phrase "care." That's why all the good pot on the black market. Wait a minute. That's why all the good pot is on the black market, you said, because the old growers that used to really care are there. And then you went on, and every other word was care. And I believe that to be the fucking key ingredient. And that's what I'm being lost in recreational cannabis, and the more large scale cannabis I've seen, is the care. You know what I mean? Is when it's grown with intention, and you know what I mean? Unfortunately, you can't take those hours out of it. You know what I mean? Most time when we talk price, the price of fucking producing cannabis, we only talk fucking electricity. We only talk nutrients. You know what I mean? All what we put into it, but we don't necessarily consider all the amount of time. You know what I mean? And our time's valuable, and we all put a lot of love and time into that we just throw aside because we love what we're doing and we're able to do what we love. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so much time.
Looking at your plants with a scope.
Every day, every plant, you know, it's a lot of time. And if you don't care, that's cool. You can grow a cool plant. That doesn't matter. But if you care, it's a lot of time. And it's a lot of time. And like you said, time is valuable. And that's why I always say, Eagle, that, you know, the oil is not an inexpensive natural path medication from me or most people. But if you provide consultation, care, advice, it's priceless, because you don't get that anymore from anybody. You aren't going to get that buying oil in a dispensary where you're buying it from a person who has no idea what it is or what it does or what it's for, how to use it, or just read the directions on the back of the package. And, you know, and it's hard as someone that has a legal product out there to write the directions on it. It's not the same for everybody. You know, the law requires certain things to be said that really aren't in my opinion, really true. Cannabis creates cancer. Same thing they say about every product that's out there on the market. So, yeah, I'm all about the metal. I think if people keep caring, then the medical part of cannabis will come alive again. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's too big already. The pharmaceuticals already own so much of it, you have no idea. And their hands are in it so far deep. I don't know if we can fight back far enough, but all we have to do is keep caring, because we can keep helping as many people as we can. And then there's proof, and also, this is a treatment that's been being used for thousands of years, thousands, way before all of us. And not just you got to pay homage to Rick Simpson, right? He's the guy. He's the name of the product that everybody knows it by. It's great. But we have been using this product for thousands of years. Pretty cool. Quit kicking me.
Your phone's gonna die.
Oh, Al's trying to remind us that our phone's gonna die here in a minute.
I know it, and I'm dreading it, because this is fun conversation. It's been a while. I have a lot of respect for you guys. I really do. Prior to you coming on the show, I had talked to you, about helping people I knew and stuff like that. And, it is important that we get more and more people involved on the medical side of things because it is coming. The cookie t-shirts, you know what I mean? They ain't going to give no shits. When it goes cross country and it's all wreck, it's all going to be pushed aside. And it's all going to be, even if there's even any kind of shadow, I think it's going to be like the medical commercials we see these days, where it's like, ask your doctor if this strain's right for you. And it's going to be the limited, you know what I mean? The few that they're pushing.
We hadn't seen that yet in California, but I'll tell you, it's definitely, it's difficult. It's weird. It's a weird thing that's happening, but it'll be okay, because the few people that we can help will help, and we'll get as many people out there with knowledge. The education's so important. We have to teach, we have to learn, and we have to educate.
We've actually
stop the stigma.
We've actually gotten clients from off the cuff from doctors in California. There's a lot of doctors in California that acknowledge cannabis as a medicine. They just can't say so.
Yeah,
it's a bummer.
Yeah, because
see, that's one other thing that's super cool that we talked about tonight, is the fact that he let you on record. Seeing how, if you were in the hospital and it was in their records that you were able to use cannabis, it's in the records at some point that it was used as a medicine. Hopefully that will help as some kind of precedent, you know what I mean, for other doctors that are considering it and stuff like that. And I guess I'll take it till the phone dies. But why do you think, you kind of mentioned that it's the medicine's like a last hope in a lot of ways, you know what I mean, before they try it? Why don't you think more people head to that path first instead of,
well,
because they're scared.
Stigma, because of
the stigma, they're scared.
Cannabis stigma, you know what I mean?
And
these are usually the people that have never used before, you know what I mean? And they have, of course, everybody around them does, because there's more people that do than don't. But you get them, and a lot of those people are very, very stubborn. Yeah, very stubborn.
I talk to them every day, and they're scared, and it's hard to make that decision. The just getting them to reach out to somebody like ourselves is a very difficult thing for a lot of these folks and these individuals, especially because they're dealing with people online that they've never dealt with before. And here they're dealing with like drugs that they have that stigma of drugs, and they're like, it feels very scary. And they need, and I do understand it. I mean, that's a scary thing. You're told by your doctor you have cancer and you have to do this, that, and that. And so immediately you join a cancer group on Facebook, because that's what most cancer clients do. I mean, that's in my opinion, in my experience, that's what they have done. And then they get too much knowledge because they're getting everybody's information, because they're too open their books onto. However, they learn a lot of things. So I get a lot of, hey, I heard I need this, that, this, and the other, and it has to be this way, that way, it has to be this mix, that mix, that mix, you make that. It's like, well, no. But at least we can work with that client at that time, and we can come up with a solution, because there's always one. Because those folks are scared. They don't know. They're getting information from a million different sources, a million different groups, a million different people. And then they're scared. They have good people that have given them, happy results, and people that have poo-pooed it. So making that first reach out is pretty difficult for the most of them.
So, and when we talk about the stigma, I think a lot of times, I was talking to a gentleman the other day about this. The taboo is the image of the plant. They either they have that image of the cannabis leaf or a bud or something when they're considering it as a medicine. So how do we kind of break that instantaneous stigma of that to get them to concentrate? It's the content of the plant, not just the visual, you know what I mean? It's the content.
Yeah.
Well, that's media, that's marketing for you.
I mean, that's a tough one, because it's crazy, because we look at the plant as something beautiful. You know what I mean? I mean, especially the flower, man, especially one that's ripe right before it's ready to pull down for harvest. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I mean, where in that world do you find medicine that looks like that? So of course we're going to always keep pictures of it. I don't know that part's ever going to go away. And that's the hard part.
Yeah, not only that, but you can place a flower or a joint or a capsule of RSO next to a Oxycontin pill, and every day I have people that'll pick that Oxycontin pill every day and tell me their doctor prescribed it. And I'll ask them every single day, every time I ask, read me the side effects, read me a list of side effects, and the last one is always death. And it's like, really? So you're not going to choose my Hope Oil or RSO or whatever, who's ever Joe's cannabis plant that has only tiredness, sleep, and make you better. There's no death at the end. There's no nothing else over that. And you think that's better for you because your doctor prescribed it to you? Are you fucking kidding me? Go ahead. That's my mother. That would be my mother. She'll pick, oh, well, he prescribed me an Oxycontin or a Norco. Yeah, okay, but you won't try the RSO that has no side effects except you're going to sleep? Come on, give me a fucking break. That pill has 50 side effects and death at the end. And I can't say I haven't done it, because I've been in a lot of pain in my life. But I can tell you that I'll never again take anything that I can't. If I miss the next day, I get sick. At least if I don't smoke pot the next day, I won't get sick.
A miracle plant for sure.
For sure.
I wonder if you're getting ready to.
Are you sure you're checking that, or you just mean mugging me, Al?
That's fine. No, I thought, I saw something pop up down there in the corner.
Yeah, so it does.
Because-
It has a little thing popping up in the corner.
Yeah, it said Eagle Gardens. Down
Yeah,
there.
it did. That's the
Very
truth. I was like, no, that's a Eagle Gardens.
But because her battery just flashed us twice earlier that to plug the fucking thing in. So I saw that pop up and I was like reading it. I didn't realize that I was looking eyeball into the camera.
Oh my God, that's funny. I didn't realize that's what was going on.
Creepy looking motherfucker.
Oh my God, that's all he needs to see is your eyebrow hair.
Just being funny. I was
Oh
just
my
being
God.
funny. So yeah, I guess before we do fall out, because I would, if you're me, you guys are great. We might as well just walk it right to the end. But I don't want it to fall off in the middle of a great, story or point especially without them being able to, before we cover at least a couple of things. Of course, where can they find you? Now that they've seen the passion of the people that produce the medicine, and I'm sure that to me means a lot. You know what I mean? I don't like buying my shit from a blind face if I don't have to. I like to, if I can, I'd rather shake that hand and, meet the people.
Got that right.
Especially with all of the foul stuff that's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous stuff being made out there to make money, just to make money. And you got to be really careful. You do. So yeah, you do want to know who's making your medicine and how it's being made. You do definitely, especially in this natural path, in any natural path medication, even if you're going on a fresh fruit diet. I mean, you want to make sure your fresh fruit is really fresh.
Yeah. So we're kind of, as you could gather, we're kind of naturalists. We stay away from anything BHO. You know what I mean? We like the real, the fresh stuff. You know what I mean? With no gas or nothing burned through it.
And there's a lot of good stuff out there because but that's not what we do. We make medicine.
But like the ethanol that we extract with has to be food grade. You know what I mean? And it's got to be 200 proof or above, which is hard to find above.
And that's be kosher too.
Is it really a thing?
It is.
It helps,
It is
right?
really a thing.
All right.
Well, it is really a thing.
I'm sure it is, but I guess it does add to the recipe, right? So where can they, if they're looking for help, where can they find you guys? Where can they reach out?
hopefarms@gmail.com is our email, and you can reach out to me there, or you can find us on Instagram. Be really careful about how you spell my tag. There's a lot of frauds out there. So it's Hope. Well, I'm sure if you look at Eagle's site, you can see the real me.
And we put that link in. The link is in chat, by the way, and in the description.
That way it'll be, that's right. That way it'll be the real one, because there's so many frauds out there. And then we post successes. We post our product, our new product packaging line, which is just unbelievably cool. And kudos to my deep ink lady who did all the artwork. My edibles are really, really good right now. And I have a couple of girls that are just rocking that for us. And they're putting my medicine in the best candy you ever ate in your life. You can reach us out there, and we'll talk to you. Actually, like, we'll really talk to you. Like, if somebody's not talking to you, you didn't get to the right site. So make sure you get to the right site, because I talk to every single person that reaches out, every single one.
That's pretty awesome, all in itself. And
then
go ahead.
Hope.farmer. On Instagram, you can see everything we do in the garden.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool too. That's obviously the source of the medicine, so it's good to see it all the way through if you can. Oh, there we go. At least we got what we got. I know I am 100% grateful. Hope and Al, if you rewatch this, thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Of course, your time, as we're talking about, is the most valuable thing we have. And I greatly appreciate you guys and thank you for your time this evening. Wish I could have got a little bit more of it, but there's always another night. And with that being said, hopefully you guys know the deal. Do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I believe that now more than I ever have. With that being said, thank you again, Hope Farms, Alan Hope, a couple great people. If you are not following, please do. And if you need their help, please reach out. With that being said, I'll see you guys possibly in a few. If not tomorrow, I've got a lot of great, great medicine-based episodes coming up for you this week. So hopefully you guys will tune in. I miss you guys. I've had an amazing week. Very grateful, very grateful.